There is a strange feeling settling over this fan base right now, and honestly, it's time somebody said it out loud. As the Lions roll into their preseason finale, the group chats are buzzing, the comment sections are twitchy, and everybody is bracing for bad news before bad news has even shown up. We are scanning the depth chart like we're looking for a bomb that hasn't gone off yet. And here's the truth nobody wants to admit in the middle of all that nervous energy. For the first time in a long, long time, there might not be much to actually worry about. This roster is deep. This roster is talented. And today, Detroit Scope is going through it spot by spot to show you exactly why the anxiety and the reality do not match up. Before we dig in, we've got to say something, because it matters. This channel just crossed 350 subscribers, and that means everything to us. Thank you. Genuinely. Now we're chasing 500, and we need your help getting there. If you're new here and you like honest, complete Lions breakdowns instead of empty hype, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button right now. It takes 2 seconds and it fuels everything we do covering this team. Okay, let's talk roster. To understand why this fan base is so on edge, you have to understand where this franchise came from. For decades, training camp in Detroit meant real, panic-inducing uncertainty. Actual battles for starting jobs at almost every position, not because competition is healthy, but because the roster wasn't deep enough to be settled any other way. Rookies started games not because they'd earned it, but because there was simply nobody else standing behind them. That version of the Detroit Lions does not exist anymore. Somewhere around 2022, this franchise crossed over into legitimate, sustained relevance, and it has not looked back since. Credit where credit belongs. General Manager Brad Holmes has built a roster so complete that the biggest storylines in camp this summer are arguments over who wins the 51st, 52nd, and 53rd spots on the depth chart. That is an incredible problem to have. And this fan base, understandably, is still adjusting to what that actually feels like in real time. So let's go through this thing unit by unit, and let's be honest about where the real strength lives and where the real questions remain. Start at quarterback, because this is where a lot of unnecessary noise gets manufactured every single week. Jared Goff has been one of the best quarterbacks in the entire league for 3 straight years running. The numbers back it up. The tape backs it up. Frankly, the debate over whether he's a legitimate top-tier starter should have ended a long time ago. Is there a bigger, fairer question about whether he can win it all? Sure. That's the standard of the position, and that's fair. But as a pure evaluation of whether the Lions have a quarterback problem heading into this season, the answer is a clean no. Running back might be the single strongest, most decorated position on this entire roster. Jahmyr Gibbs is officially the highest-paid running back in football, and he has earned every single penny. That's not projection. That's not hype. That's production translating directly into a market-setting contract that reshaped the entire running back economy this offseason. When your workhorse is getting paid like the best in the league because he's actually playing like the best in the league, that's not a question mark. That's a foundation. At receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown continues building what could end up being a Hall of Fame resume, as long as he stays healthy and stays on this trajectory. Jameson Williams is coming off back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons and, by every account out of Allen Park, keeps getting more refined as a route runner and a complete receiver. Then there's Isaac T. Slaw, the receiver who has generated some of the most polarizing debate of the entire offseason. Let's be straight about it. There was real pushback when Brad Holmes traded up to get him, giving up significant draft capital to leapfrog other teams, including a Los Angeles team reportedly ready to offer a second-round pick for that exact same slot. That criticism of the trade cost is fair, and it's worth acknowledging honestly instead of pretending it didn't happen. But there's a separate question here, and it deserves to be kept distinct. Has T. Slaw actually performed? 6 touchdowns as a rookie third receiver is a genuinely strong start. Full stop. You're allowed to hold 2 thoughts at the same time. The price might have been steep, and the player might also be showing real signs of being worth the patience. 2 years is typically the fair runway to fully evaluate any rookie before rendering a final verdict. And right now, T. Slaw is trending in the right direction, even through some rough patches in padded practices this camp. The offensive line is where things get a little murkier, and it's fair to call this a genuine question area, even while acknowledging the talent in the room. Sam Laporta remains one of the best tight ends in this league when healthy. First-round investment Blake Miller is holding down the right tackle spot, opposite a left tackle position that has been significantly upgraded with Penei Sewell sliding over to protect Goff's blind side. Tate Ratledge, a second-round investment, continues to develop and has even been working representatives at center this camp to boost the roster's overall flexibility. New addition Cade Mays was brought in as a notable free agent investment at center, but is dealing with an injury that's expected to sideline him well into the early part of the season, which is a real subtraction the coaching staff has to account for. Christian Mahogany rounds out a talented but still developing interior group. Every team in this league has questions somewhere along the offensive line. This unit, while not immune to real question marks, has enough talent and enough depth to withstand some early season absences without the whole thing collapsing. Now let's move to the defense, because this is where the most exciting transformation on this entire roster is taking place. Aiden Hutchinson remains one of the best defenders in the entire NFL. Full stop. No real argument to be had there. Alim McNeil is working his way back from injury, but this team has watched him perform at a top 10 level before, and there's real optimism he gets back to that form as the season rolls on. That's a legitimate concern, and this fan base is right to have some genuine anxiety there. At cornerback, DJ Reed is a strong physical presence at the top of that room, and there's real hope building around rookie Keith Abney as he continues competing for meaningful snaps. Cornerback remains a question mark as a group, but there are enough intriguing pieces to believe this unit can hold up its end of the bargain while the safety situation sorts itself out. And do not sleep on special teams either. With Jake Bates handling kicking duties, including flashing legitimate 70-yard field goal range in camp, and Jack Fox handling punting, this team quietly has an edge that a lot of opposing rosters simply cannot match. In a league where close games get decided by inches and hidden yardage, elite special teams play is a real, tangible advantage that doesn't show up on the hype reels but absolutely shows up in the win column. Let's pause here, because this deserves real emphasis. Think about how differently this exact conversation would have sounded 5, 6, 7 years ago. There is no version of this roundtable happening in this fan base a decade ago. Back then, camp battles weren't luxury problems about who wins spot 53. They were desperate, uncertain fights just to find enough competent bodies to field a roster at all. This team has moved so far past that reality that some of the anxiety fans are feeling right now is almost a symptom of success. When your floor gets raised this high, every remaining question, even a minor one, starts to feel amplified because there's simply less noise left to hide behind anymore. Now let's talk about why this matters heading into the regular season. National media outlets, not just the local voices who cover this team every single day, have taken notice of what's been built in Detroit. This is a roster that outside evaluators, people who watch all 32 teams and carry no built-in bias toward this franchise, are pointing to as one of the more talented, well-constructed rosters in the entire league. And that recognition didn't happen by accident. It happened because this front office has consistently drafted well, developed players patiently, and made smart, sustainable investments in free agency, rather than chasing short-term splash moves that leave a roster thin 2 years down the road. Here's the honest, complete picture as this team heads toward Week 1. The offensive skill positions are as strong as almost any group in this league. The offensive line has real talent, with a couple of legitimate injury-related question marks to monitor, specifically around Cade May's early season absence at center. The defensive front seven is deeper and more talented than this fan base has seen in a very long time, even with some healthy internal competition still being sorted out at the edge position. And the secondary, while it carries the most real uncertainty of any unit on this roster given the safety injury situation, still has enough talented pieces to believe it can hold its own while Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch work their way back to full health. Put it all together, and there's a very fair case to be made that this roster, complete as it currently stands, has as few true weak links as any roster in franchise history. That does not guarantee wins. It does not guarantee health. But it does mean that when this team finally takes the field for real, the excuses that used to be so readily available, thin depth, unproven starters, glaring positional voids, are largely gone. What remains now is simply the job of staying healthy enough and executing well enough to let all of this talent show up on Sundays. So here's what we want to know from you. Drop a comment below and tell us honestly, which position group are you most confident in heading into the season, and which one still has you a little nervous? Is it the safety situation with Branch and Joseph? Is it the edge rotation still sorting itself out? Or are you fully bought in across the board? We read every single comment, and this conversation genuinely shapes what we cover next on this channel. And before you go, one more time, we are so close to 500 subscribers, and every single one of you watching can help get us there. Thank you again for helping us reach 350. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment, and let's keep building this thing together. This channel exists because of Lions fans like you who want the full, honest picture instead of just cheerleading. Go Lions!